Week 9, editing. This is one of my favorite conversations. So I wore a hat. I just put the hat on for fun. Isn't it cute? Totally cute. Love this hat. I don't know if I've really talked to you all much about why, well, you don't know that I wear hats because I don't wear them much in the video lectures, but I do wear hats all the time. I have a ton of them in here. And I thought, well, it might be kind of fun to start showing you guys what some of those are. But anyway, it's just one of my favorites. So that has nothing to do with editing. We're going to talk about editing today, editing and peer review, both. And both are vital for you to understand and get good with and begin to put into practice. So with that being said, we're going to jump in. This pulled up and get it started. We also have some music playing in the background. Thought that might be a fun change. All right. I don't know if you can hear it or not. Another thing I know I need to do is I need to share the computer sound because we have a couple of videos coming up. So we are talking about editing. However, we're going to begin with something completely different. So I have some food for thought to share with you. I came across a video on YouTube and it meant a lot to me and I wanted to share it with you. It's had a lot of views and I can understand why. So I have a link here because I couldn't get it to share to the PowerPoint. So I'm going to click this link and we're probably going to have to pop out of the PowerPoint. Oh, it's going on without us.
Power all your devices at once with multi-gig speeds.
Thank you for joining me on a rainy day. Nothing new there. So I am in the conservatory and I want to share a piece with you that is written by a lady called Cassie Phillips. I came across it on Facebook. Somebody had shared it. And it's one of those pieces that I've read, reread, and read again. And it really strikes home for me. So I will share it and then add my thoughts in at the end. So it's called Let Them. Just let them. If they want to choose something or someone over you, let them. If they want to go weeks without talking to you, let them. If they're okay with never seeing you, let them. If they are okay with always putting themselves first, let them. If they are showing you who they are and not what you perceived them to be, let them. If they want to follow the crowd, let them. If they want to judge or misunderstand you, let them. If they act like they can live without you, let them. If they want to walk out of your life and leave, hold the door open and let them. Let them lose you. You were never theirs because you were always your own. So let them. Let them show you who they truly are, not tell you. Let them prove how worthy they are of your time. Let them make the necessary steps to be a part of your life. Let them earn your forgiveness. Let them call you to talk about ordinary things. Let them take you out on a Thursday. Let them talk about anything and everything. Just because it's you they are talking to. Let them have a safe place in you. Let them see the heart in you that didn't harden. Let them love you. Okay, so as I say, that has affected me on a very personal level. Pause for a deep intake of breath. And I knew it would affect me reading it out loud, so I've actually jotted down my ideas beforehand. You have to accept yourself just as you are without having to make changes for others. If you feel that you have to change to maintain a relationship, if that change is always one-sided, then the relationship might need to be given some consideration. And do not automatically take the blame and punish yourself for any of the things that they have done. Yeah, some of us find that hard to do. And on occasion you might be tempted to heal a rift, but they have to earn a place back in your life. Otherwise, it will be very quickly back to as was, same old. You need to be shown respect, and that your needs, your wishes, you are considered. They don't value you, and you deserve to be valued and to be made to feel valued. Let's face it, it's a form of control. Don't let them control you. You are the only one who has control of you. Unless you give that control away. Never forget that. You belong to nobody but yourself. So establish those boundaries. Establishing them is one thing. Keeping them is another. Have a big conversation with yourself about where those boundaries need to be. And if there would be any opportunity that you might feel you would allow those boundaries to fall. But put yourself, your considerations top of the pile. That's not selfish. It really isn't, though many people think it is. It's self-caring, self-nurturing. And boy, if those others aren't doing it, you must. You really must. On that note, I will say thank you very much for joining me, and take care. Take care of you, no matter what the world, no matter what other people, be they, in inverted commas, friends or family, work colleagues, whatever, think of you. Thank you for joining me. Bye for now. Bye.
Therapy has always been such a scary idea to me.
Get out of this. Exit full screen. All right. We're going to go back to PowerPoint. All right. What did you think of the video? Let them. I came across this idea back in the summer, I think it was, a lady named Mel Robbins. I may have already shared that with you, I don't know, but I just came across this one today and it spoke to me. I really appreciate this woman's perspective, and I wanted to share it again. So Let them. Don't try to make people stay in your world. Let them. Let them choose what they're going to do. You choose what you're going to do, and you choose your own happiness. Isn't that a wonderful idea? Thank you. I wanted to share that before we move on any further here. But now we're going to begin talking about editing, right? So here we go. After you write your rough draft, put it away. Put it away for a day, put it away for 2 days, however long, put it away. You have to disentangle from it. You have to emotionally disentangle from it. Get that negativity out of the way, because you have anxiety, you have worry, you have fear, all wrapped up in the writing of that essay. So put it away for a couple of days, get all that out. Don't look at it, don't think about it. When you are ready, get it back out, then sit down and objectively begin to edit your work. Use some checklists, use a rubric, use a grammar checker, use your tools. You can also use your own brain if you trust it. I'm trying to switch the screen here and it's not wanting to go. There we go. All right. Oh. All right. Put it away for a day, then edit. Why, you ask? Why should we edit our work? Well, because editing is of vital importance. If you don't believe me, you want to put it off, if you don't want to make time for it, okay. But perhaps we should go over a few reasons why editing is important. And we're going to begin with a reminder from Jack's Films. Just a little bit of Your Grammar Sucks. This is episode 18. Without further ado, just a little bit of why we should edit our work before posting.
The future of your business is here. With Wix, you get advanced AI capabilities. For more
YouTube should bang this channel. Does the girl have to be conscious to get pregnant? I will sing this in pubic. That's a promise. Danebo, do why exposed when how effects? That is ow. Ow. Studded. Stop it.
I hope my girlfriend don't watching this.
Some people, what I know, doesn't like this song. What a assholes. Some people, oh, what? I know, doesn't like this song. Anthony is not racist, he has a picture. Or a black guy.
Did you see his eyes sparkle in his eyes?
Dame them, bitch, slaping wall monster. I've been basting 8.5 years of my life in school already. Not really a Spanish break? I can't hear this without thinking of Simon Pegg beating a zombie with the pool. Okay? Oh well.
Don't call me a fuck ton, I'll have no better in school than you.
Thumbs up if you don't have seen this, and will never do.
I'm underage.
I lugged so hard. For the pebble that don't know, Vids is a remembrance of Titanic. It most be terrible to life at war. Mermaids is not beautiful. They is disgustings. I can. It is a costume. How? That's a good costume.
Your grammar sucks in real life.
Hamburty.
Everything's a goodbye.
We delivery. Ask about our meet and groom. Ask about meeting our groom. Don't use caution. Low ceiling. This may look right, but it's actually in the dairy section of a grocery store. Whoops. Mind you in business? God versus Mose. I not smile. Questioning my sexuality.
What a virgin. Uh-huh.
Purgatory doesn't exit. My boyfriend broke up with me last night to get back together with his ex. He always told me to never worry about being jealous of her. I always knew that she still had feelings for him, but he didn't like her until she found her way back into his heart and he stopped noticing me. She always hurted him, and I never would do anything to hurt him.
I asked him, would you rather have someone who will love you more or someone who will love you less?
Now I watch him pain seeing her with him, knowing he can do better with me. Help me clean up the world. If you see an amazing bad comment on the internet, take a screen cap of it and send it my way, either via Twitter or my Facebook fan page. If you see an amazingly bad comment in...
Thank you, Jack. Right, so that's just one example of why we should edit our work before it's posted, submitted, turned in, etc. and so forth. But I have more. Oh yes, I'm sure you know by now. Of course she has more. Of course I do. So if that didn't convince you to edit, what is this saying? He has worked for Walmart 15 years. He likes EM because he has a thing to know about something he nothing about. He no longer works at Walmart, needs a change, has a truck to come from Manford. High school grad, that's HS. From Westville High School. Yes! Told him we got class and it's gonna start soon. He said okay. He asked me to send him info about EM class. Told him it's a diploma, not a bachelor's. I'm not making these up. These were written by a former coworker at work on Work Software, a program that everyone could see. Here's another one. Notice it's in all caps, which means we yell it, right? Wants to come in. Said he can be in soon. Can't, won't, can't too long because had to other thing. I said, okay, if you will. Also said the classroom space and also be a lot better, if not more. What? And for posterity, another one. All written by the same person. It was painful. Wife said he has not got ged, yet told her he need to call me so we can try to figure out whenever he can go place to take it. She said, okay. I told Hire I'd call back to see if maybe Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday, but not Friday. She said, okay, but I told her maybe Friday it won't be open, which she told me is a good idea. I had 7. Now, I will let you know that a friend of mine that I worked with, we went around saying I had 7 for months after this. Just randomly at the end of a comment, I had 7. 7 what? I don't know. Not sure what was going on here, but please understand those were unedited notes on a work server, and that person did not stay employed, to say the least. Grammarly. It runs on your work program. Use it. I use it on my work emails every day. Every day. I mean, don't edit if you don't want to, but you might end up in an English professor's PowerPoint. We sail RVs. I have more. She said, you can get on the airplane. I said, no thanks. I'm getting in the airplane. The cannons be ready, Captain. Arr. The right words are important. All right, so I want you to consider this sentence. And if you were going to draw this sentence, ask yourself what it would look like. I belong on a beach with messy hair, tanned skin, and a margarita watching the waves. If you were going to draw that, what would it look like? Well, I took some time and I drew it. We've got a beach that has messy hair and tan skin. See, it's a very dark beach. And there's a margarita watching the waves. Funny. The order of our words is very important, and this is one of those things that we can look for when we're editing, something that we can check. Read our sentences, make sure that they make sense and that they're doing what we want them to. You really want them to do what you want them to. It's a rampant problem that people don't edit. Hope I done well in the English exam. Probably not. Just saying. Hope I did well. Okay, even hope I did okay on the English exam, not in it, like you're not getting in it. You took it, so you want it on it. corrects me. Here we go. Now with this one is about the big debate that exists out there, and you all may not be aware of the big debate, but there is. There is a big debate out there in the big wide world of grammar fun. Do you need the Oxford comma? If you use it, if you do, use it. If you don't, don't. But here's an example of the Oxford comma and how we use it. You ready? We invited the strippers, comma, JFK, comma, and Stalin. So we invited 4 people. Without the Oxford comma, we invited the strippers, comma, JFK and Stalin. JFK and Stalin are the strippers. Woo! The Oxford comma makes a complete list. Strippers, JFK, Stalin. Separate entities in a list. Without the Oxford comma, we're not creating a list. We're creating a description. The strippers, comma, JFK and Stalin. So you have to understand what it is that you're going for. What's your goal here? What are you wanting the people to understand? Do you want them to know that you're describing something or that you're making a list? If you're making a list, you need the Oxford comma. Now, commas are important, and we have to talk about that. It can be a life or death situation. We're going to learn to cut and paste, kids. Or we're going to learn to cut and paste, kids. If we put a comma after paste, we're talking to the children. If we leave the comma out, we have to talk about comma splices. Comma splices are terrible. This is when we take 2 independent clauses and we put them together and think a comma can hold them. It can't. It's not strong enough. So a comma is not strong enough to carry the weight of 2 sentences. He's just not. Sad, sad news. Very poor, sad little comma. So here's an example of a comma splice. I was hungry. I ate lunch. So if we need to write this, we absolutely need these 2 separate sentences to be one sentence. How can we accomplish that? Well, we could put a period and make it 2 sentences and just let go of our desire to make it 1 sentence. We can just let that go. Make it 2 because it is 2. I was hungry, period. I ate lunch, period. Or I was hungry, semicolon. I ate lunch. This is the semicolon's only job. You guys, this is its job. And you're taking its job away when you don't use it. A semicolon holds independent clauses together. A semicolon holds sentences together if you need them to be 1 sentence. You've got 2 ideas that you just really want them to stay together. Use a semicolon. It's glue. It's stronger than a comma. You can think of it as a comma with a muscle on top. Like it's a muscle. Strong. That little comma's too weak by itself. It doesn't have a muscle. So use that semicolon. Or you can add a conjunction. I was hungry, comma, so I ate lunch. I was hungry, comma, and I ate lunch. Add a conjunction to your comma, and then it works. But you cannot leave it just as a comma. It is not strong enough to carry the weight of 2 sentences. Here's another instance of a comma splice. If you don't think punctuation is important, try forgetting the semicolon when you tell someone, I'm sorry, I love you. With the semicolon, it's I'm sorry, I love you. Without the semicolon, I'm sorry, I love you. Kind of important. You guys, editing is vitally important. Just gonna let that sit there for a second. You ready? There's more. There's always more. Please do not drink, eat, or discard diapers in exam rooms. Who's out there eating and drinking diapers? That's what I want to know. That's disgusting. So we need to reword this sign. Please do not discard diapers in exam rooms. No eating or drinking. Make it 2 sentences. Even the news sometimes needs to edit their work. Hey, I'm gonna go to the store. Anybody want some? I don't think that's the way you spell donuts. Oh, I'm gonna go to the store. I can also get you some school supplies. Anybody want some supplies? Now, this is a rule that might actually stop shoplifting. Oh, I mean, maybe it will work. Probably not what we want to do. I think the word we're looking for here is prosecuted. I think. Again, with the news needs to get it right. School too easy. Is it? Is it too easy? Or is it 3 easy? Maybe it's 5 easy. Oh, when you hug a guy and you smell like his colon. I smell like men's colon. When you can still smell his colon on your pillows, even though he's not there. After you hug a boy and you smell like his colon. I love when I can smell a guy's colon as he walks by. Now, obviously, well, maybe, I hope, maybe they do mean colon, but perhaps these ladies mean cologne. I mean, perhaps, which is spelled cologne. Why, I don't know, but it's Cologne, just so you're aware. So, cologne, I hope, is what they're going for there. Oh, proud mommy. Proud mommy moment. She used the correct use of there, and she's only in 2nd grade. I know 30-year-olds that can't do that. Ha ha! Can I do what they're doing? Yes or no? Well, proud mommy said yes, because she's so proud of her daughter's use of there. Y'all, that's not the right use of there. Can I do what they are doing? THEY apostrophe RE. Thank you. I'm still going to the store. Anybody want some plain bagels? I'll follow the sign's directions. Oh, but they're out of tissue paper. Oh, and why? Why is tongue capitalized and why is tissue paper capitalized? And why is there a comma before thank you? And why is thank you capitalized? And why can we not use the word you? So many questions. Anybody want to go? Sounds like fun. How about you edit your sign? Again, this is for a school, y'all. This is a school. Seriously? South Bend? Probably Indiana? Are you kidding me? I don't think I want to go to your school. Not my kind of place. Uh, we really need to think about how we word things and what those things that we word sound like when we read them out loud. For instance, tables are for eating customers only. We don't eat our staff. We just eat the customers. But no loitering. Like, you can't stand here. You can't stand here while we eat our customers. How about tables are for dine-in customers only? That makes a lot more sense to me. I hope that's what they're going for. Otherwise, run away. And if you're going to be nasty and leave some kind of a political statement on the back of your car, yes, make sure you spell it right if you want your message to get across. Otherwise, we have some kind of new weird religion starting. Oh, I had way too much fun making this page. Employees must wash hands before living. I didn't know you could choose whether you were going to be living or dead, but apparently before you're living, you have to wash your hands. I think they meant leaving. Leaving. See, editing's important. Here's another one. A lot is not a word. You do not write a little, a bunch, a cantaloupe, or a pork chop. Stop writing a lot. It's a lot. 2 words. A lot. No smoking allowed. Shh. Now, let me just say this. People that come to the United States and learn English, or live in another country and learn English, you know what? My hat is got, well, I'm not going to take my hat off, but the figure of speech is my hat's off to you. I have great respect for people that learn English and somehow master it because the English language is crazy. Those of us that have only ever spoken English, we really take it for granted. We understand that the language is crazy, but we don't know that it's crazy because we already know that it's crazy because that's what we've always known. How's that for some circular reasoning? We understand that there's 2 allouds. There's ALLOWED and there's ALOUD. There's 2 allouds. And we know that they have different meanings. But can you imagine coming to this country and trying to learn English? It's insane. Most other languages do not have craziness like this. I've talked to many students who've come here and learned English, and I know. Oh, I just have so much respect for you if you're learning English or you came and you learned it. Um, my friend Fennec, she is from Iraq. She's been in the United States now for 25 years. That lady speaks better English than most Americans that grew up and were born here do. She came speaking Kurdish when she was 15 years old and set about learning English. And she speaks proper English. It's amazing. She's incredible. Sometimes I'm like, oh, with my own. But my claim is I was raised in southeastern Oklahoma, and my best friend still says my name this way, Daisha. I love when she says my name. I love it more than anything. Daisha. Oh, an accent. Yes, an accent. But anyway, back to don't smoke allowed or no smoking allowed. Shh. Or does it mean ALOWED? You can't do that here. Well, I'm pretty certain that's what that means. When I go to the store, I could pick up some Sip Mathy cards. Would you like that? Would you like it if I got you a Sip Mathy card? Thanks, Hallmark or Walmart. Oh, you guys, I haven't gone to the store yet, but I can pick some of this up too if you want. Some homemade apple butter. Yes. Now I'm going to tell y'all, see, Oklahoma. The best birthday present I have ever received was about 2 years ago from a student. We had just gone through this PowerPoint. Actually, I had this picture in the week 2 PowerPoint, so we had gone through it before we got to my birthday, which is September the 23rd. And this girl shows up with a present for me on my birthday. I open it up, and y'all, she got me a jar of homemade apple butter. She really did. She made a new label. I put it on some apple butter. It's still in my office at work. It will forever be in my office at work. I'm never going to open that jar of apple butter, but it's about the funniest thing I ever saw. So I got me some of that there homemade apple butter. That's not how you spell homemade. I'm just saying. Uh, Now here's another one of these sentences that you have to think about how it's worded. Maybe draw the picture. Is it worded the way you want it to be, or is it saying something off the wall and crazy that's not what your intent is? In the mood to be eating fresh fruit on a balcony in Greece, wearing a bikini with a glass of champagne in hand, looking at the sea. So we have a balcony in Greece that's wearing a bikini. The bikini has a glass of champagne in hand, and it's looking at the sea. We need some changes here. We need some big changes. Addition a comma, rearranging the words, something. We need some help. Help. I need some help. It's another Morgan Wallen song that I like. Like I can make this kind of mess all by myself. Right. So I was grading papers one day, and I came across this sentence. It's going to be a great day. I love my life. My husband and I look good. And I got to looking at it and I realized, wow, this is a run-on sentence. It's a run-on sentence, and I'm not sure exactly what she's trying to say. What do you think? What do you think she's trying to say? Could it be this? It's going to be a great day, period. I love my life, my husband, and I look good. Is that what she's trying to say? Or is she trying to say this? It's going to be a great day. I love my life. My husband and I look good. It's going to be a great day. I love my life. My husband and I look good. What is it? I don't know. I don't know what the author's intended meaning is here. There's several ways to punctuate these words, and the different punctuation gives it a different meaning. So, what do you think? What would you say to the student that wrote this line, this run-on sentence? Now, punctuate this sentence. A woman without her man is nothing. How would you punctuate this sentence? Now, before we really, I sit here and pause or anything and make this dramatic, this is an English teacher joke. Here's the joke. An English professor wrote the words, "A woman without her man is nothing," on the chalkboard and asked the students to punctuate it correctly. All of the males in the class wrote, "A woman, comma, without her man, comma, is nothing." All of the females in the class wrote, "A woman, colon, without her, comma, man is nothing." Punctuation is powerful. Use it. I'm not going to say that next part. But punctuation is powerful. It does determine the meaning of a sentence, and we need to pay attention to that. If you want your message to get across correctly, you need to ensure that your punctuation is right. Use a grammar checker, use your tools, or read a grammar textbook and just memorize it all. Now you want to do that? Oh, okay. So use a grammar checker. Absolutely. English is a difficult language. It can be understood through tough, thorough thought, though. Again, my heart is so big for people learning English. This is got to be the worst kind of thing to begin to understand through tough, thorough thought, though. Oh, I wouldn't want to have to learn that. I mean, I just grew up knowing the crazy because that's what we speak is the crazy. So we don't recognize it's crazy because that's what we were raised with. It just keeps changing. You notice how much our language changes and alters, and what a word means today, it won't mean 20 years from now? It's like craziness. And then we make up words like yeet. English. So anyway, if you can't take it anymore, you're over it, you're done with me doing all this foolishness, please edit your work. I hope I've made the point. The point is you need to edit your work, and you need to edit ruthlessly. You've got to be honest with yourself, be objective with your work. Don't let it hurt your feelings. Don't let it hurt your feelings if somebody else edits your work. It needs edited. Everything does. No one sits down and writes anything perfect. Perfect doesn't exist. So how can we at least make it good? How can it become better? That's what we want to do. Now, what you're seeing here is what editing looks like, can look like. I love a paper copy to edit. I absolutely love a paper copy to edit because I'm going to write all over it like that. Whenever I'm writing a manuscript, I always print it out. I print it out, I write on it, I mark on it, have notes in the margins. Here's the kind of writing that I do. So this is my course schedule for Comp 1. And I am currently, you see the blue check marks, that's checking off every video lecture that I've made. So we're right now doing video lecture 9. So I haven't check marked that off yet. But this is what I do to edit my work. Once I've actually made a correction that I have on here, then I scribble it out. But this is how I edit. You see, here's a edit that I made already, so I scribbled it out. And then there are notes on the back. There's notes on here. Look at this. This is a mess. This is how I work. This is how I edit. And then these notes, right? So that's me editing. The notes that I took in the last PowerPoint or the last video lecture, they're on the back of this AT&T bill. Right there. But I like a paper copy because on the paper copy, I'm going to write. I'm going to mark things up. I'm going to use different colors. I'm going to use highlighters. This is a permanent marker. I've got different kinds of pens. I printed it in red ink because I'm running out of black ink. But this is what editing looks like, especially when you use a paper copy. And this has been so great to have sitting next to me as I make these videos, because there have been things that I'm like, oh, I need to fix that, or oh, I need to change that. And so I've been making myself notes. I've got this, but I also have this. And so I make notes here. Here's the one for Comp 2, and it's got notes on it, right? So I'm making these changes as I go. I'm making notes as I go. That's part of my editing process. Editing is where the work is. Editing is where the magic happens. The gold rush is in the editing. And you're just really going to have to take my word for that until you get into the swing of it. That's when things get good. So even Stephen King does this. This is an example. This is actually taken from the book on writing. Wonder if I could actually find it. Yeah, here it is. So just so you see, this is actually from this book. So he is showing us how he edits a paper manuscript. So Stephen King goes in and he prints it out and he writes all over it. And he gave it to us in the book so that we could be encouraged to do the same thing. Here he is. He's sold over 350 million copies of over 60 books and over 200 short stories. And this is how he edits. I mean, do you think if he does it, then we probably should? Seriously? Look, there's more. This is what it looks like to edit your work. And this is what it looks like when I edit my work. This is what it looks like when Stephen King edits his work. He even changed the name of some of his characters in this editing. But that's what you do. You go in and you fix stuff. And you don't sit around going, oh, I should never write again. That was so bad. No, you harden the fish up, Care Bear. And you go for good. You go for great if you can get there, right? We care less. We care less about negativity. And we just go for the best that we can do. That's awesome. And then you can feel proud of yourself. So let go of all the negativity and let's just go for the best that we can do. So, Stephen King's writing process and how it works. This is an article that I came across online. I thought it was really good. I've given you the link to it there at the bottom of the PowerPoint. But I'm just going to go through this briefly. I've kind of highlighted the parts that I think are the most important. I have not put the entire article here on the PowerPoint. But regarding the writing process and revision, when you write your first draft, King suggests that you close your door. And we've mentioned that already when it comes to Stephen King. I talked about that when we were talking about the writing process. This is both literal and metaphorical. Literally closing the door helps you focus and block out the outside world. This is part of Stephen King's writing process. Metaphorically, write the first draft of your story just for you. By and large, don't worry about what anyone else thinks. There is no outside world. The story belongs to you. As we'll cover soon, there's one exception, your ideal reader. And for Stephen King, that person is his wife. So he writes, and he keeps his wife in mind. She's the very first person who sees anything that he does. He trusts her that much. He knows that she's going to give him honest reviews. And so she's who he writes his stories basically for. When you rewrite, you need to open your door. You'll think about your readers and how to make at least some of them happy. You'll take in feedback from people you trust and grapple with reconciling their feedback with your vision. Stephen King's writing process depends on this feedback. Stephen King understands that peer review is essential to success. Has to be peer reviewed. Absolutely does. So we write it, we put it away, we get it back out, we begin the editing process, and then we have people read it after we have made our attempt at editing. Here's Stephen King's writing process from beginning to end. Write and finish this first draft with no help or advice from anyone else. Their well-meaning words can trigger self-doubt if critical, or make you complacent if positive. Write as quickly as you comfortably can. This keeps your enthusiasm high and limits self-doubt from creeping in. When you finish the first draft, give the story to anyone who's been dying to read your work. That's your mom. But demand that they not discuss your writing with you until you're ready to. You need a break from it. Take a few days off from writing, have fun and relax. Do other work, do something else. When you're ready, go back to writing, but write about something totally different from what you just finished drafting. King suggests taking at least 6 weeks off from your draft. Now, we're writing essays for college. You're not going to have that luxury. You're going to have a couple of days to give yourself to be away from your essay. So, during this time, resist the temptation to read your draft. The point is to get distance from the draft so you can be more objective, a more objective critic when you revise. It will be easier to kill your darlings. Now, that is Stephen King saying kill your darlings. Sometimes there's things that you write that you really, really like, but they don't serve your point. And so those things have to be cut sometimes. It's okay. Because the point is getting through to the reader, getting the message to the reader. That's the point. Have you accomplished that? And we try to figure that out in this editing process. Finally, go back to your draft. By this point, it should feel oddly familiar, yet unrecognizable. Once you get to the point that you can be objective with your work, you're going to be like, did I write that? Or, oh my God, I wrote that. But it's not going to be as like attached to you. And therefore, you're going to be able to look at it as separate from you, which is what you want. Like the work of someone else who writes suspiciously like you, read the draft in one sitting if possible. Note fixes for specific issues like grammar and usage, deleting adverbs, plot holes, and character motivations. Also, ask yourself big picture questions. What's the story about? Is there a theme? Are there recurring elements? Is the story coherent? Now, he's talking about writing fiction there, but we're writing nonfiction. So you can still ask yourself similar questions, right? I need to take care of grammar and usage. I need to be deleting adverbs because adverbs are the tools of timid writers, according to Stephen King. Ask yourself big questions. What is the essay about? Does it accomplish my vision, right? Is it coherent? Does it make sense? Does it align with the criteria that the professor gave for the assignment? Go back through and revise your second draft. Fix the small specific issues and polish your big picture ideas. Once you define your theme, add scenes and shape the story to strengthen the theme. After you finish, now we need to fix this, don't we? Because we can hardly see that. I'm going to fix that and then pop us back in there. Oh no, I am way not in the spot I need to be. I'm not quite sure what happened there. Shoot, 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 shoot. I gotta find it. Don't really shoot. I'm just saying that. I found it. You guys, I have no mouse. I don't know where my mouse is. Why doesn't the mouse show up? All right, well, that's all I can accomplish right there for now. Now I need to get us back into the slideshow. Well, let's come back down here and grab y'all. I have no mouse. Okay, I made it red. But now I'm gone. I don't know where I am. This is funny. Let's pop out of there again. Come back to that. Now the mouse is back. Somebody, please make it make sense. I don't know what I'm doing. From current slide. There, at least I made it red. Okay, so we can actually see that. After you finish, give the second draft to a small group of readers that you trust and listen to their feedback. Incorporate the feedback as you like. Now, what that means is you don't have to take every bit of feedback and make it like change everything. You don't have to do that. This can be your next draft or even your final draft. You take the feedback that works for the point of what you're trying to get across. Use however many revision cycles that you're comfortable with. King's standard process takes 2 drafts and a final polish. For Stephen King, the writing process is an extremely important part of writing. So when we edit, here are some things to remember. Ensure that you've had it put away for a good while. Read it out loud. Always read your work out loud. Run Grammarly. And I hope you guys have seen while I'm making these lecture videos that I'm finding mistakes in the PowerPoints and I'm going in and I'm changing those before I put those or before I re-upload those before the start of our semester. I am recording these videos prior to semester. And part of the reason is this very thing. It's editing. So I can get the PowerPoints correct before you open it up on your side and see a bunch of mistakes that I don't want you to have. So we're going to fix those things as we go through it this way. I'm reading it out loud. Run Grammarly, Grammar Check, Spell Check, Quillbot, Pro Writing Aid, EasyBib, Al Purdue, whatever that you're going to use. Grammar Check. Go on Google, type in Grammar Check, see what you find. There are so many out there. Find one that works for you. Look out for I and you. Make sure that you're using those pronouns sparingly. Most often they can be removed. They can just be removed. Go through what you have written at least 3 times, at least. Have a trusted individual proofread it. Go to the Writing Center. That's a great idea. Always keep your audience in mind and use the class rubric and a checklist. But first, some notes after grading. So after grading some essays, here's some notes that I took. Things that after grading, I know need to be addressed, that you need to be thinking about when you edit your work. Make sure that your essay is visually pleasing. No big, giant, chunky paragraphs. Make sure your MLA is spot on. If I open up your paper and it's not visually pleasing, my immediate reaction is, ugh. You don't want my immediate reaction to be, ugh. You really don't. All right. All words in a title must be capitalized, except those words. Do capitalize, and it gives you this here in yellow. The first word of the title, the last word of the title. Verbs, nouns, pronouns, adjectives, adverbs, some conjunctions, and words more than 3 letters long. We capitalize those words. However, don't capitalize unless they're the first or the last word. A, an, and, at, but, by, for, in, nor, of, on, or, so, the, to, up, and yet. We do not Capitalize those words if they are somewhere in the middle of the title. Watch out for is, are, was, and be. All are short, but should be capitalized because they are verbs. So is, are, was, and be are always capitalized. We are not capitalizing a, and, at, but, by, for, in, nor, of, on, or, so, the, to, up, yet, if they're in the middle of the title. But if they're the first word or the last word, capitalized. Hopefully that chart will help you. Save it. Save that chart. Help you with your title. Another thing, just please make sure that your essay is classic double spaced. I have given you that resource to get it classic double spaced. I've shown you how to do that. We talked extensively about that in a class lecture. You have the handout. Please, please, I'm not begging. I don't beg. I'm asking you for your own sake, for the for your own point value. You keep those points by making your essay classic double spaced. Watch your indents and use the tab button when you're creating indents. Also, be careful of comma splices. Fix them. Oh, there's that comma splice thing again. I'm not going to read through all this because we already did this earlier in the PowerPoint. Okay, make sure that you're using the right word. And this goes along with what we talked about a little earlier as well, so I don't need to spend a lot of time here. Remember, we looked at allowed and allowed. We want to make sure that we're using the right word, okay? The font, make sure that your font is correct. I have requested Times New Roman 12-point font for all essays. If you turn your essay in and it is not Times New Roman 12-point font, I will remove points. So please be aware of that. Page numbers, upper right-hand corner with your last name. That's MLA format. These things are here in this PowerPoint because these are things that people continue to make mistakes on. These are things that students continue to do that I'm consistently marking on essays. So I'm trying to help you by pointing these things out. Incomplete sentences, avoid fragments. Ensure that you have a subject and a verb in your sentences. Chunky paragraphs. Just don't do it. Just break it up. You don't want to read that. Like, for real. You don't want to read a chunky paragraph. I can prove it to you. Let me find one. Oh, no, Stephen King does a pretty good job. Yeah, Stephen King, he knows, in order to get his work read, not to have chunky paragraphs. Because honestly, I'm flipping through here, and there aren't any. This entire book. This is about the longest one I found, right here. See, that looks a little daunting to read. It's a little large, but that's about the longest one I found. The rest of them are readable chunks, so good job, Stephen King. Don't give me big chunky paragraphs, because that's me when I see them. That's me pulling my hair out, like, right? Yeah, you don't want me to read your essay if that's my mood. Make your writing visually pleasing. In my class, now this is something that my oldest son sent to me, and I absolutely love it. He was like, Mom, I think you'll like this. And he was right. So I'm going to read it to you. I'm trying to wait for this thing to move so I can move this over. Here we go. All right. This sentence has 5 words. Here are 5 more words. 5-word sentences are fine, but several together become monotonous. Listen to what is happening. The writing is getting boring. The sound of it drones. It's like a stuck record. The ear demands some variety. Now listen. I vary the sentence length and I create music. Music. The writing sings. It has a pleasant rhythm, a lilt, a harmony. I use short sentences and I use sentences of medium length. And sometimes, when I am certain the reader is rested, I will engage him with a sentence of considerable length, a sentence that burns with energy and builds with all the impetus of a crescendo, the roll of the drums, the crash of the cymbals, sounds that say, listen to this, it is important. So write with a combination of short, medium, and long sentences. Create a sound that pleases the reader's ear. Don't just write words, write music. Is that amazing? That's amazing. You vary the length of your sentences, and they're more intriguing to your reader. Your reader will be more willing to listen to them because you are creating music just by breaking them up. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I love that. Thanks to my son for sending that. Oh, it's not wanting us to click off. There we go. Your tense agreement, make sure that you're not jumping between past and present tense. Make sure that you are sticking with correct tense. If you, again, remember, if you are referring to your author's life or anything your author has done, you need to be in past tense because the author wrote that thing in the past. They're not currently writing it right now. But if you're talking about things going on in the story, that's present tense. Okay. And if you are talking about how you feel about the story, that is also present tense. So just be aware. I know it gets a little confusing, but we can talk about that. Like you can text me and we can talk about that because I want you to understand. Avoid starting sentences with I. Also watch how many times you use I. So your writing tends to be a little bit like that young lady down there at the bottom of the screen when it's I think, I feel, I want, I, right? Ew. Just ew. Nobody wants to read that. Things that need addressed. Make sure that you run Grammarly and grammar check, please. This is the way it works. I'm just going to let this play. All right. Thank you, Grammarly. Moving on. Then I found this Grammarly video and I wanted to share this with you. It's fantastic. Let's watch the
As
Grammarly
students,
video.
we're constantly evaluated on the quality of our writing, on essays, homework, internship applications.
What I love about Grammarly is that it helps me save my time and my brain power for figuring out what I want to say. I can focus on getting my ideas onto the page, and then Grammarly comes in to make sure that those ideas are communicated in a clear and compelling way.
It helps me proofread and increase clarity really quickly and easily. It also helps me make sure that every sentence is strong. I'm not worried about wordiness or poor sentence structure or a grammar error clouding my message. And it's a free install. And then it just works instantly everywhere you write. Email, Google Docs, Canvas, Blackboard. I use Grammarly every single day.
If you're a student, you need Grammarly. Try it for free today.
They're singing my song. Grammarly. Grammarly works. Personally, I love it. I use it everywhere. And I do love that it works inside Blackboard now. I use it when I'm creating things inside of Blackboard now, which is wonderful. That's fairly new for me when I am putting together our course shells now. Grammarly runs inside there, which is wonderful. I find it to be wonderful anyway. So let's keep moving here. Things that need addressed. See my in-text comments. Always read my in-text comments. Always. When I make comments on your essays, please look and see what those are. Please. So you know what you need to work on. Rewriting an essay must be requested. So if you see my comments and you go, crap, can I fix this? Text me, ask me. Chances are strong that I'm going to say yes. So, because the goal here for me is that you learn, that you see what are the things that you struggle with and you figure out how to fix those, how to combat those. Because then you walk away winning. You walk away having grown. And that's the goal. That's the goal, is that you're better and you're ready for the next semester. That makes me happy. So let's do good work. We're going to focus and we're going to edit. Awesome stuff. Now, editing's a must. And here we are with the white words on the yellow background. And I am not going to fix that right now. Just not going to do it. So we need to accept that editing and having a second pair of eyes on your work can help you shape your message. If you don't think so, you may not realize how many people lose trust in you and unsubscribe, delete, or even block when you miss an important mark. Get it right the first time because that's often the only chance that you get. For your sake and the sake of those who have to read what you write, and I put that in all caps because that's me, edit your work. Use an editing checklist and a rubric. Now, this is what our editing checklist looks like. I'm not going to go through it all the way, but that is what it looks like. It is on Blackboard. I have given it to you under handouts. Use it. Use it as a guide when you're editing your work. Here's another one, and this article is also on Blackboard under handouts, under editing for you. These are some more checklist items that you can go through your work and make sure that are addressed. And our rubric is a great checklist for you as well. This is how my brain works. This is what I think things are worth. And so you want to be aware of that. And I know this potentially looks scary and like, oh my gosh, I can never do that. But really, if your page numbers are missing, they shouldn't be missing. So that's one of these on here. Your page numbers shouldn't be missing. But if they are, I'm going to take enough points away to catch your attention. So you can go back in and put those in, right? So that's how that works. Use Citation Machine to help you create citations for your Works Cited page. It's a wonderful resource unless you're using academic sources, and those will create them for you. But I love Citation Machine. I use it when I'm putting things together. I use it. So it's good stuff. Now, we need to talk about peer review. And I realized that I said that the other lecture was going to be the longest one, and this one actually might be a little bit long. But again, I have 2 hours and 40 minutes because that's what we would spend in the classroom if we were in the classroom together, which we're not. So I'm not going to feel bad about it. Now we're going to talk about peer review. Peer review is essential. When you hear the words peer review, what emotions do you feel? Now that's something I will ask in-person classes. A lot of people feel like you're about to walk a gauntlet, right? You're about to walk in front of a lot of people that are going to beat you up. That's what it feels like. But that's not what it is. It's not what it should be. After today's talk, hopefully you will feel like the king down here in the bottom. I do not fear this. My thoughts on peer review is that it is a team sport. Now, here's my explanation of how it's a team sport. Now, I'm not a football aficionado, but I know enough to draw a correlation here. Peer review and football. So, I, the professor, am the coach, right? We can agree on that. I'm the coach. The students are all the players on the team. So, all of you are players on the team. Not every student plays in the game, though, or every player plays in the game, right? There are players who just sit on the sidelines and they don't get involved. But all students, all players on the team. Students who actually participate in peer review are the players on the field. So those that actually participate, those that understand this is important and they want to be involved, they're the players on the field. So your peer review is your huddle on the field. So all the players that are on the field, they huddle up and they make a plan, right? They have a conversation. They adjust things. They critique things. They make a plan of action in the huddle. Now, sometimes somebody's got on a thing where the coach is talking, right? The coach is giving input as well. Professor is doing the same thing. Now, solid critique is the football. You want to catch it and you want to throw it. Isn't that great? Love this. So the students who offer the solid critique, you're the quarterbacks. And we can have a lot of quarterbacks in this game. Our football game's a little different. Everybody can be a quarterback. So as long as you have solid critique, you've got that football. So students who take peer review seriously and make good edits are the players who make the touchdowns. So the quarterback throws the critique, throws the football, the other student catches it and runs with it. You run with it. You make the edits. You make the touchdown. You win. So many touchdowns. So many freaking touchdowns. Fantastic. So if you participate and make the plays, then the coach's work pays off, right? Then the coach has done a good job if the players are able to do well. Now, what happens if the players fail and the coach doesn't really help game after game after game after game? Well, the coach is going to end up getting fired, right? We move him on because he's now not motivating these players to do what they need to do to catch that ball and to get it into the end zone. So, peer review. It's like football. I hope that really made sense. It makes sense to me. But it is possible for us to have A's all around. And that's exciting to me. If we take this peer review process seriously and we really help each other make these plays, it's possible for everybody to walk away from the literary analysis essay with an A, if we all do our part. However, it doesn't always happen. So why does peer review work? Well, it is an opportunity for you to see your writing through someone else's eyes. That's important, especially because anytime you're actually writing a thing, you're writing it for an audience, you're writing it for a reader. So why not get a pre-reader's experience or insight? Just makes sense to me. We see how other students think and write. Now, that's another benefit of peer review, is that you get to read the work that other people do, and you get to see inside their minds and understand what their thoughts are. And let's say you're writing about the same topic, but they have completely different ideas from you. That's so cool to get to find out how someone else views the same exact thing that you've been working on. Love that. We see others' writing strengths and weaknesses. You might find out that even though you think your essay's really bad, it's not as bad as you thought. You see what other people are really good at, and you see what other people struggle in. And that can be encouraging to you, but it also can be challenging to you. So that's an exciting part about peer review. We see new ideas and new ways of explaining ideas. And we learn to look at our own writing in a different way. The more you offer peer review to others, the better you get at editing your own work. And that is fact. We've got a video here called No One Writes Alone, and I am going to share this with you.
I feel like you have a lot of analysis, but like you don't really, it's not like connecting, you don't really know what it's like going towards.
I would actually just cut this entire section right here.
Do you feel that I should probably address the issue of purpose in my actual thesis statement?
When we think about peer review, it's useful actually to have a sense of how central it is. There's kind of peer review that happens in the classroom where peers, students, other people just like you are looking at your work and you're looking at theirs. Now, on a professional level, that person might be a peer. It might be somebody you've never met. You might be the preeminent scholar in your field, and your peer might be somebody quite junior. Peer itself, just that term, is very open-ended. It's basically anybody else engaged in the same project you're engaged in, trying to understand these basic questions of the discipline.
There's always a need to have somebody else tell you where you're going off course. Nobody writes alone. Nobody finishes work alone.
Peer review is really the feedback mechanism about the quality of our ideas and how well we communicate them. And that's really how academic work moves forward.
The response to one's work, in whatever form it takes, is always crucial. So you want to know simply if people like your work, but you also really want to get, a qualitative understanding of whether or not your work is doing what you intended to do and whether it's satisfying some requirement of your audience.
I wasn't taught how to do peer review. It can be a very mysterious process and certainly a scary one, which is why we need to talk more about how it's done and what it involves.
It's very hard to understand the process until you've done both sides, until you've actually done the reviewing and as well as received the reviewing.
I've talked to all of you, I think, in conference now on this paper, so you've gotten my feedback. And today's peer review is for you to share feedback with each other.
The students in my class working on each other's drafts, what they were doing was really helping the writers produce these ideas to their best possible level.
I just thought you could probably combine the first 2 paragraphs. Like, I know what you're trying to get at, but I feel like you took too long to explain it.
If you're a student beginning the process of peer review and you're uncertain about what you might say to somebody, I think one thing to remember is that what you're really doing is providing the experience of a reader. If you keep that in mind, you can't really go wrong.
I really like this. It was personal, but it wasn't too personal that it would feel like you were talking about yourself.
I tell students that they get to say, I liked it, only once per class. They have to understand that they are collaborators here and that, it's important to notice what's good in the work, but you have to be focused and specific.
This section here, I might edit to be a little less inflammatory.
We've all had some experience with peer review that isn't positive, whether that's getting reviews on our own work or being put on the spot to say something when we're not quite sure what we think yet.
There is a difference between saying, this piece of writing doesn't work, and you're a bad person. And it's incumbent, of course, on the teacher to make sure that that distinction never gets forgotten in the classroom.
Those mutual newspapers give the effects of the situation in a way which creates negativity in the reader's mind, but at the same time, the document itself remains objective.
When you're beginning to give peer review, what that probably means is you're beginning not only to learn the process of peer review, but you're beginning to learn the process of understanding whatever it is that you're reviewing. That's a perfect time to also begin peer review, not to wait until you're an expert, but to start at that point where everything is new, where you're beginning, because that's when you have the best questions. You have the most capacity to recognize features and to ask about them really freshly.
Do you think that using the term social action to further explain the effect that has on the audience would be a good conclusion in my essay?
Coming into this class, I had the notion that if I dedicated more and more time by myself to a certain essay, that was going to perfect it. But, really just one word or one sentence from someone else can open up possibilities for me that I would never have realized no matter how long I spent.
Because it's a professional requirement, peer review can seem like a mechanical exercise, but my experience more and more has been that it's a tremendously creative endeavor, and done well is as important to the intellectual process of the work. It's the one place where the author's work becomes truly collaborative.
It's central and it permeates everything we do in academia.
It seems to me that both those seem to be straw men in some sense, right?
So I just wanted to have some sense of how you people think about how you respond to that.
It helps us get better at all the other acts we perform in academia. It helps us get better at learning the methods, at creating ideas.
Peer review keeps us on our toes. It complicates and enriches our thinking.
And it's the best possible thing in the world to have a smart person really looking at your work with that depth and regard, such that if you listen to what they say and work with it, you and your work become better.
My writing isn't the best, and I know that. And when people point it out to me, it's always surprising. And today they actually showed me how I could actually fix my essay, which was quite constructive. And hopefully when I go back and look over my essay, I'll be able to fix those errors, which will otherwise make my essay a lot better.
Thank you, MIT. I love that video. I think it's wonderful. So how are we going to do peer review? Well, we're going to do it differently than what it's going to say here on the screen. But you are going to turn in your rough drafts on Blackboard. I will put you into groups. In those groups, you are going to share your essay with each other. So you're turning in a copy to me, but you're also going to be sharing your essays with one another. On your own computers, you want to open those up, read through them, make critiques on them, highlight, mark, put questions, whatever you can do. Then you want to save a copy of that and then send that copy back in your group. Another thing you might do is print it out, write on it, take pictures, send them the pictures, however you want to do that. Maybe you guys in your group will decide, hey, let's all do this on Google Docs, and so you can get in and work on each other's documents. If you want to do it that way, that's up to your group. I'm not going to tell you what you can and can't do. If you want to open up a collaborate session through Blackboard, you can open up a collaborate session with each other, do a video face-to-face chat. That's up to you. I'm not going to tell you exactly what to do with that or how to do that. What I am going to tell you is, in your groups, you will exchange papers, you will critique one another's papers, and send them back to one another in that same group. Okay, that is how we're going to do peer review. And that will need to be done within that week of peer review. You want to make sure that you have your peer review done by Friday night. You'll be turning your paper in on Monday morning. Have those peer reviews done by Friday night. Give everyone a couple of days to make your final draft edits. Let everybody have a couple of days to get those final edits done so they can turn in final drafts and feel confident with their work. Okay. And keep in mind, the goal is A's all the way around. So you want to make sure that you're doing the very best that you can for one another. This is teamwork. It absolutely is teamwork. What we need to know and do is that the goals of peer review are to help improve your classmates' paper by pointing out strengths and weaknesses that may not be apparent to the author, and to help improve your editing skills. It's twofold. It helps you, it helps them. Have some guts about the process. That's what I say. We want to try to avoid these mistakes. Now, you guys, this is my favorite video of the semester. Hands down, favorite video. Here you go.
Peer review can be a very valuable exercise for students of all grades. However, some people don't know how to do a quality peer review. Let's take a look at some of these peer review bozos. First, let's listen in as Picky Patty peer reviews her partner's paragraph.
You have 2 ands in your paper. That's too many ands. You call that a period? There's a little line at the bottom. It looks like a comma. Ooh, 1/2 centimeter of your title is not underlined. Oh my gosh, you put such a big space between that word and that comma.
If you don't care about the process, it ruins everything.
You spelled cat wrong. It's C-A-T, not K-A-T.
Yeah, sure.
I would rate your topic sentence a 3.
Yeah, whatever.
I would grade your paper D+.
Cool.
Then there's a person who just wants to interact with all the kids and groups nearby.
Hey, Bobby. How do you spell the word word?
I don't know.
Do you agree with me that... Bran. What? My partner wrote the title wrong.
Talk to the hand.
You spelled intellectualizes.
Some peer reviewers give suggestions that do no good because they aren't specific enough.
You spelled some words wrong, plus I think you're missing a few capitals.
Where are they?
On the paper.
Where on the paper?
Kind of everywhere. All over the paper.
Some peer reviewers don't know how to give their suggestions in a kind way.
Your class number looks stupid.
That's the way I wrote the number.
Are you dumb? You're supposed to put a space between A and lot.
Gosh, I didn't know.
You spelled dinosaur so wrong, you shouldn't even try.
Fine, I'll go get a dictionary.
Some people don't have a clue when it comes to volume.
I love your topic sentence. Shh. Wow, you used the word plethora, which is such a rich use of vocabulary. I think you spelled Pachypalosaurus wrong.
Have you ever worked with someone who insists on you taking her advice?
Fox is spelled F-O-A-X, not F-O-X.
Why don't we go get a dictionary?
Just change it. Do you, not trust me?
I think it's spelled F-O-X.
Just change it.
Well, it is my paper.
Listen, that's the way my mom spells it, so if you don't change it, you're going to be insulting me and my mom.
And I'm sure we've all done a peer review that got a little off topic.
I just did 5 push-ups. Yeah! I don't really understand that sentence right there.
I can't wait till my birthday. Wait, it's in December. That means I get to go to Chuck E. Cheese's.
Are you going to help me with the sentence?
Did you hear that?
I like that word you used.
I like frozen yogurt.
Have you ever worked with someone who thinks peer review is a race to the finish?
You wrote in your margin.
Well, how can I fix it?
You wrote a summary, not a response to literature.
What am I lacking on?
Well, nothing. Well, your topic sentence needs a little changing.
What would you rate it?
I don't know. Number 4. How would you...
And lastly, a good way to ruin a quality peer review is to take the feedback personally.
Hey Dave, you forgot to underline your book title.
Well, why do you always bug me about it? It's just a little title.
I'm just saying.
It's my paper. I can do whatever I want.
Jeez.
What grade do you think I deserve?
I'm thinking maybe a C+.
Yours isn't that great either.
Oh, we're not talking about my paper.
Why are you always picking on me?
Oh, so good. So good. We have to avoid these mistakes. We cannot be picky Patty. You're not there to pick everything apart. Whatever, William, you need to care about the process. Please don't be someone who goes, whatever. Because that hurts. That hurts the whole team. Social Sammy, some of these are just specifically for being in the classroom, and we're online, so they're not necessarily relatable like Social Sammy, right? Like you're not going to be like talking to all the other groups because you're online. Gene the Generalizer, please make sure that you're making specific comments, that you're not just saying, oh, there's some errors to fix. Well, where are they? On the paper. That's not helpful. Mean Margaret, that is also not your job. You are not to be saying things like, are you dumb? No, it's not what we're doing here. We are just critiquing the work. We are being objective, concentrating on the work. Loud Larry, again, that's an in-person thing. I'm a Loud Larry. I am loud. I don't need a microphone. That's kind of a blessing, kind of a curse, but that's not going to apply here. Pushy Paula, you can't push your ideas on other people. They can take it or they can leave it. Give them your idea. It's not your business if they take it or not. Not your business. Off Task Oliver, stay on topic, stay on target. That reminds me of Star Wars. Stay on target, stay on target. Some of you guys are like, what? That's from episode 4, which was the first one made, but episode 4, Star Wars A New Hope, where he's like coming towards the Death Star towards the end, and he's like, stay on target, stay on target. Trying to blow that thing up. Stay on target. Speedy Sandy, don't rush through it. Take your time. Do for someone else what you want that someone else to do for you. If you want them to take time with your work, take time with theirs. What goes around comes around. And Defensive Dave, don't get defensive about anything. Don't take any of it personally. This isn't about you. It's about the work. It's all about how do we make the work better. Not about you. Okay? This isn't a personal attack. This is let's make this work as strong as it possibly can be. All right? There are different stages, perhaps, of peer review. Acceptance, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and finally acceptance. That just made me laugh. It's not really, I mean, maybe it's true. I don't know. I just thought it was funny. All right. So use editing checklists and rubrics. So just as we want to use those for our editing, we want to use those same things when we're doing peer review. Use them as guides. You have the guides, use them. All right. And over here, I just am repeating what I just said. Someone else's, well, I didn't say it this way. Just as someone else's grade could be in your hands, so is your grade in their hands. It's teamwork. Now, when you get your peer-reviewed paper back from someone else, keep calm and take stock. Now, this is from an article down at the bottom. This is called How to Receive and Respond to Peer Review Feedback. From time to time, you're going to get frustrating comments, even though it may sometimes feel like the reviewers haven't spent enough time with your work. These comments might be overly critical or lack the right expertise. Remember that a lot can get lost in translation. Always start by assuming reviewers have the best intentions. Bear in mind that the goal of peer review feedback is to verify and strengthen your work so that it is ultimately a more effective communication. Reviewers are a good representation of the journal's general readership, and their reactions can help you craft a better, clearer publication for your audience. After reviewing your manuscript comments, it might be helpful to take a step back and clear your head. When you come back to it, ask yourself, what are the fundamental issues the reviewer wants me to address? So just because you receive critique on your essay doesn't mean you have to take it all. Evaluate it, look it over, consider it. Make the changes that you think actually need to be made. Set a plan for revision. Don't ignore any comments, but you do not have to accept all the suggestions, but consider them. Think through the suggestions, consider your audience and the fact that your reviewer was, in essence, a first audience. That is an important point to remember. They are an audience, and if that audience had questions, probably a second and third audience would have questions too. So, and I'm that next audience, so you might want to pay attention. Make a list of essential versus non-essential peer review suggested changes. Decide whether you need to conduct further research. Complete the edits to your essay that are drawn from peer review, and consider having one or two of the reviewers reread your paper. Now, sometimes when I'm doing in-class peer review, I like to take the 2 days a week. Let's get all the peer review done on Monday, and then on Wednesday, let's reread it. So you make the edits on Tuesday. We peer review Monday, edits on Tuesday, reread them on Wednesday. Oh, that produces the best results. The best results. We don't know so much have that opportunity as an online class. So consider asking the people in your group if they would mind rereading your paper after you make the edits. Hopefully you're in a group with people who are going to be like, yeah, no problem. Because they would want you to do that for them too. And you need to be willing to do that for them as well. It's a great idea, just saying. So, a tip, build in a little extra time for a final review. Once you've updated and revised your manuscript, give yourself a little leeway, let the paper rest for a day or two, and give it another read. Checking to make sure that your edits make sense with the rest of the paper. All right. So that comes from that same article. You can click on that link at the bottom of the PowerPoint screen and get to that article. That goes on to talk about conflicting feedback. Not going to spend a whole lot of time reading through that because that's a lot of words. So, but over here on the right, so we don't have an editor per se, but the principle is the same. You will receive conflicting feedback. Sometimes one classmate is going to say, hey, you need to fix this sentence, and another person's going to say, oh my gosh, I love that sentence, right? You need to consider it all and then rely on yourself to make that final judgment call. So if you've got two people saying different things, maybe ask a third. You go to the writing center, you ask them for their opinion. Don't ask me because I'm not going to help you with that. I am to do the final review. I am going to take your final paper and I'm going to critique and offer feedback and whatnot. And then it's up to you if you keep whatever grade I give you or you take the opportunity to rewrite it. But you ultimately at this stage are going to decide what becomes the final draft. So after reviewing the critiques on your essay, get ready to make your final edits and use your time wisely, pretty much Sunday and Monday, because they're due by midnight, right, of that Monday. Take your time. Don't last minute yourself. Be kind to yourself. Use the checklist given to you on Blackboard and breathe. You have outlined, researched, edited, participated in peer review, edited again, and breathed, hopefully. So, at the end of today, your homework is to continue working on your rough draft because it is due at the beginning of week 10 at 8 o'clock in the morning on Monday. But you also have the discussion thread over editing and peer review. So I look forward to reading your thoughts there. And with that being said, well, actually, let's just go ahead and close that. And then I'll get ready to close this out here. So I look forward to your thoughts in the discussion thread. And I'll see you next time. And next time, just going to be a brief talk at the beginning of week 10. And we'll get ready to spend the week in peer review. All right. See you later.